Good afternoon, LBC Radio. This is Corey Rosen with the Story Podcast. Today I have a special guest, Kate Ray, a 2021 graduate of Lancaster Bible College. Kate has spent her first year teaching at Mount Calvary Christian School in Elizabethtown, PA. She has enjoyed teaching elementary general music and elementary choirs and looks forward to continuing to teach. While she's not in the classroom, Kate might also be found leading worship, reading beside the lake, or curling up to take a nap. And I feel like we all feel that last one.
Yes.
How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. Really happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, with that said, you are a pianist by trade, a musician by trade.
Mm-hmm.
What first got you inspired to do music?
Great question. I think it was my experiences with my own music teachers. So I was homeschooled, but I had the opportunity to be in choirs. And just my directors were so kind, and they just really helped us understand what was going on behind the music, and they cared about us and just the community. I love communities of music making. So when I was looking at careers, I was like, I would love to be able to share that with other people. And I originally auditioned for worship arts here at LBC, and I met Mrs. Sidebotham. And they, after my audition, they were like, hey, we're bringing back music ed. We think you'd be a great fit. Would you like to do it? I was like, sure. So that's kind of how I got into music education. And then through my internships, I discovered I loved elementary music. So that kind of became my focus. And then I graduated and found an elementary teaching job, and God just really worked it out.
Really? That's so fun. So you like kids music in general?
Yes. So I would say kindergarten through 6th grade is typically general elementary music. And it's just so fun because that's the age where they're doing the dances and doing the folk songs and doing the different instruments like ukulele and the Orff instruments and recorder. And they're just so malleable at that age. Mm-hmm. And they still think you're the coolest person ever. Most of them don't have attitudes yet. And they just eat it up. And you can really teach them a lot about singing and making music together.
So hot cross buns is your jam.
Oh, that's the first song in recorder karate. And my
Right.
third graders just did that. And I probably should have sent home headphones for the parents.
Oh, really?
It was a little bad.
Oh, my goodness.
21 of them in a tiny room playing hot cross buns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've always I could not ever stand was when people didn't know how to sing. Or tone deafness.
Uh-huh.
That is always one thing I could never go to talent shows. I could never go to children's choirs because I would be so annoyed.
Yeah.
And I get physically angry.
Yeah, I think I've gotten used to it by now, and I kind of tune it out. But then sometimes sometimes I record my lessons just to kind of be able to see what's going on because I can get so focused. And I'll listen to it and I'm like, oh man, that wasn't quite belt worthy, because they get a belt if they can play the song. And sometimes I'll hand out a belt and then I'll listen back and I'm like, oh man, that kid was not playing in tune. But they're trying and they're having fun and they're making music.
That's what matters.
Yes, in my opinion, yeah.
Yeah. So talking about education,
Mm-hmm.
what is it really like we've all had elementary teachers, most of us, but I'm sure I do not know what it was like for my elementary teacher to teach me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll give you a day in the life, and then a week in the life. So day in the life, I get to school at I have to be there at 7:30, and my school is cool because on Mondays, each morning there's a different thing that we do. So on Mondays we have staff devotionals. So we'll meet for 20 minutes, and we are studying Philippians right now.
We should say that you go to a Christian school.
Yes, I'm teaching at a Christian school. Yes, very good point. So we'll have...
Normal schools don't do that.
Yeah. So we'll do that, and then on Mondays, I'm very blessed. I don't teach on Monday mornings until 9:38, so I have 2 hours of prep time. So I'll usually spend that time writing lesson plans for the week, catching up on anything that I need to do organizationally. Mm-hmm. Is that a word? I don't know. To organize, yes. Or cleaning my room, touching base with the secretary. And then I teach in 2 different locations. So I have my classroom, and then I teach choirs up in our sanctuary. So I'll take all my stuff upstairs, get set up, teach. I do have extra duties too, which I feel some people don't realize. So I have lunch duty, bus duty. So I'm just doing stuff around the school all day. So I teach, do my duties, do bus duty, and then I can leave by 3:15. And I usually don't leave till like 4 o'clock because there's just stuff you got to do, like organizing all the papers, putting the markers away again, just like those little stuff.
What about like grading?
Yeah, I'm very blessed. I actually don't have to grade choirs. And for general music, they get a participation grade. So I made a rubric for that. And then if we're doing projects or anything, like in recorder, they get a grade on if they brought their recorder and their music. And then they get a grade every time they test on a song.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how do you think LBC has properly prepared you for your junior job?
Absolutely. I feel like I was set up for success in everything. So I'm certified to teach kindergarten through 12th grade music. So this is kind of just a smaller chunk of what I'm certified to do, but just the lesson plans, the organization, having to write units in college, absolutely.
Good. So would you ever want to teach higher level? I saw your face.
I would love to do choirs. I don't think I would want to teach like junior high or high school music classes because that's when they get into more of like the theory and composition stuff, which I enjoy, but I am more passionate about like choir and just making music in a group setting.
That's interesting. You mentioned composition. We back in my day when I was a high school student, not teacher. We never really. I've always heard mixed like stories from different high schools, and I guess it all depends on budgeting. But my high school band was literally just marching band and then the concert band and nothing else. There was no theory whatsoever. There like zero composition. Besides, if you can make a drum cadence, you'll get like free pizza. That's about it. So what have you been in a classroom experience where that's not been the case, or either or?
Like where there's been more
Where there's been
options?
more options, yeah.
Yeah, in student teaching, which I student taught at Elizabethtown Christian School, my cooperating teacher taught high school music, and she had a class. It was more like a private study. I think she only had 3 students. But they did theory, and she was teaching them chords, and they were writing their own music, learning about like the 1, 4, and 5 chord and like how you can arrange with that. Real basic stuff, but it was still like they were creating, and yeah, they really liked it. And one of the kids that was in that class actually accompanied for her high school choir, so they really liked it.
That's cool. Yeah. The only time I composed or started to learn about composition was when I came here to LBC.
Same.
And it's kind of funny that I went as a composition major not knowing anything about how to compose or anything. And yet I still got in. Yeah.
I was lucky in high school. My piano teacher was a jazz person. He taught trumpet and he was like really into jazz. So he did teach me like he would have me kind of improvise and stuff, but I didn't do anything like notating until college too.
Right. So in the classroom, there's a bunch of stuff going on with kids and everything. So what are some of the biggest issues you have to deal with kids on a day-to-day basis?
Oh man. Well, behavior is always one. I don't know, like teaching us specials is unique. Because you don't have the kids all day.
Right.
So they're coming to you and you don't know what's been happening in their classroom. Like it's kind of like
personal life.
Yeah. It's kind of like I try to view it as a fresh slate. Like they come in the music room. The music room is its own entity. We have our own rules. So I want to give them that opportunity to just have a fresh start. And then sometimes it becomes immediately apparent like, oh, Bobby is being more quiet than usual. Maybe he's having a bad day. Or, Sally is just talking nonstop and will not sit on her dot spot and pay attention.
Her dot spot?
Yes, I have carpet circles in my classroom.
Okay.
Yeah, they sit on the floor because then we can get up and move. But yeah, I would say behavior is the biggest one, and just trying to be attentive to each student's needs because I only have them for 40 minutes once a week.
How many kids do you have?
Total, I have
like per class.
Oh, per class. It varies.
I guess.
Yeah, like in K4, there's like 13 in a class, and my 3rd grade classes have 21.
Okay, so that's not that unmanageable.
No, it's not. And the biggest struggle is my room size is very small. So it's hard, like, especially in third grade, if a student is misbehaving, I can't really separate them and like give them some distance. They're just kind of stuck in everyone else.
So how do you, as given this is a more this is a private institution, you have more freedoms to do what you want as a teacher in some respects.
Yeah.
Especially as a Christian. How do you deal with those people or kids who are just not cooperating or they're having a bad day? How do you approach that? Do you just like, because the tendency I'm sure for a lot of people would just like to let it go, like let it boil, not necessarily boil over, but like just hands off. And how do you deal with that?
Yeah. So for the whole class, so there's like two parts to this. As a class, I use like an emoji system. So they come in and they're on green. And if the whole class is like being really chatty, not being respectful, they move down to orange. And if they get worse, the lowest they can go to is yellow, like a yellow card. And then when the classroom teacher comes back and picks them up, that's like a visual for them to know how they were. And then in their classroom, they get like a reward system. So if they were at the highest level, they get 3 gems. And then there's 2 and 1. So they're trying to earn gems for their classroom because then the classroom teacher does like pajama day or movie day or something.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I work really closely with the classroom teacher on that. For individual students, I have positive reinforcement, a sticker system. So my beloved donut stickers, they can earn if they are really paying attention, students who are moving really artfully when we're doing movement or just doing their very best. They can earn a donut sticker. If I need negative reinforcement, oh man, I will usually just pull a student aside while the whole class is doing something and be like, hey, I'm noticing you're not really paying attention. I need you to keep your hands to yourself. That usually works for these guys.
That's good.
I don't know if it would work in all situations.
I'm telling you right now, I teach children how to swim, and it is, first off, they're in the water. That's problem number 1. Problem number 2, there's friends there. Problem number 3, there's toys everywhere.
Yeah.
And problem number 4, they came here to learn. And that's all those together. It's just a rapid mess for things to happen because they can just bend over, splash around in the pool, and then all of a sudden, whoop, they're in the pool and they're sinking because they don't know how to swim.
Oh man, that sounds a little stressful.
Well, granted, I have an ADHD brain, so I can fire on all pistons and be everywhere at once. And so it's really nice for me. But yeah, sometimes kids just forget, oh, I can't stand in 5 feet of water, and they sink.
Yeah. Thankfully, I don't have to do that. They're not in danger of drowning, but,
no, but
I understand.
Probably in danger of other things.
Well, the worst that's happened in my classroom, due to it being so small, is that a kid got whacked in the head with rhythm sticks one time. Had to get her an ice pack.
That's good. That's not good, but it's
I mean, of all the things that could happen.
Yeah, that's not the worst.
Yeah, she was fine. She just was. It surprised her, and she started crying. So.
Well, yeah, I would be surprised too if I was hitting the head with a stick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's interesting that you don't have to, because I know some kids, if you gave them sticks, they would whack every person and their mother.
Yeah.
And so that's really, I also feel like on some level, private students, especially like in a Christian setting, I feel like they sometimes tend to be more disciplined. I don't want to make a general statement, but
that is definitely true. And just because they have, I mean, not to pull the Jesus card, but like you can pull the Jesus card. Mm-hmm. And it's true. Like we're teaching them to, we're trying to be an example of Christ to them. So when they're acting out, it's a teaching moment. It's like, okay, like, how would Jesus respond in this situation if he's angry? Exactly. Yeah. I feel like it sounds cliche, but there's
value in that.
It's true. Like, yeah.
It's just like, well, listen, you're acting this way. Is that in line with what Christ would do?
Yeah.
And it's just simple as that. And whether that be secular or not, it's a good way to keep you in check, even if you're an adult too, because there are so many situations as adults that we get into like that are unfathomable to the child, that that has been gone through before with Jesus, and it's
Mm-hmm.
really easy to, as adults, to keep our emotions in check. And I've found that sometimes adults can be very childlike sometimes,
Yeah.
and what we consider to be childlike. They will throw tantrums. They will be stubborn. They will be jealous. They will envy. Just granted, not in overtly childlike ways, but it's the same situation where you have to step back and your emotions get a hold of you because things can get very heated as adults. And you have to just say, well, what's the right course of action here? What would
Mm-hmm.
Jesus do? How am I reacting, especially to a non-believer? Am I showing the light of Christ to them? Am I giving Christians a bad rap
Mm-hmm.
by interacting in this way? It goes on so many levels that truly what would Jesus do is probably the best way you could think about any scenario.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so stupid, and it's a cliche '80s
Right.
bracelet, but there's a reason why it was so popular because it really gets the point across. Well,
Yeah.
it makes you think. What would Jesus do in this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Would he yell?
Mhm.
Maybe not. Would he flip tables? Not unless you're in a temple where people are selling stuff.
Yeah.
Just simple stuff like that.
Yeah. And something I'll tell them, especially my older students, it's like, is what you're doing glorifying God?
Mm.
Like a big thing in fourth grade choir is they will, they can be kind of mean to each other. I mean, mean in a relative sense because it is a Christian school and they're really, truly good kids. But I'll stop them and I'll be like, listen, like the way you're talking right now is not glorifying God. It's not respecting me. Like you have a responsibility as we're preparing this music, especially like our Christmas music. Like we're going to be sharing the gospel. We're going to be on mission while we're on stage. So you need to like shape up and stop because you're not glorifying him. And that like I've had that conversation with them. And it worked for like a week. And then they're fourth graders. Like it's not they're learning and growing still, but it is nice to be able to like share that openly and like teach them how to like guide them, I should say.
It is funny how a certain card works so long and then it's like I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always struck out the card. Well, don't you want your parents to be proud of you, or don't you want to show your dad you can float on the water if his kid's being squirmy or whatever, and because you have to float on your back to float on your back. You can't be squirming around or else you'll sink. And it's like, well, you're just being silly. Don't you want to show your dad to float, your mom how to float? Don't you want to show me how to float? I know you can do it. Just giving those soft encouragements and reality checks.
Yeah.
Is very important. I've noticed for a kid and sometimes for adults too. One thing I want to talk to you about is specifically. Hold on, I gotta get my words together.
You're good. I'm gonna drink some coffee.
Go for it. Coffee. Oh, that's one thing we could talk about. How dependent are you on coffee?
Oh, so I have accidentally started going to Dunkin' every morning because I discovered you can get a $2 coffee that tastes like a $5 coffee. The secret recipe, this is free to anyone listening. You just get an original brew and you add cream and vanilla and it tastes like a latte, but it's $2 instead of $4. So my teacher budget can afford it.
Okay.
Yes, I love coffee. I drink it all the time.
There's a whole conversation about that we can have about because it's being reliant on a drug.
Oh.
So that's you're like
Maybe everyone drinks coffee. I'm not real. I mean,
I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe we should move on to the next question.
But no, there's acceptable levels of drinking coffee and there's unacceptable levels of drinking coffee. I know some people who drink 6 cups a day.
I'm not that bad. I will have my morning coffee. That gets me till like the one I get in the morning, I'm usually done with by like noon. And then that's the only one I have.
No, that's safe. I'd say that's
Okay,
a healthy amount of coffee.
Perfect.
I know some people who have 6 cups of coffee by 12.
Oh,
and
gosh.
Then, yeah, right. And it's like
I would be so shaky.
I know. I don't know how people deal with how bad have you at that point you're like dependent on that
Yeah.
to get, and that I could never be.
You should have your listeners leave comments. How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
Are you reliant on coffee? Because a cold drink of water does the same thing for me that coffee does for a lot of people.
Well, good for you.
I know. I'm super blessed in that. I'm not being like, haha.
I'm gonna just drink my Twin Valley over here.
But
Okay.
back to kids.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with, let's get back to one of these questions. What do you teach and why?
What do I teach and why? My goal for my students, and this is taken from a philosophy called, it's like First Steps in Music and Conversational Solfege. If you're a music educator, wannabe, you should check him out because he's awesome. But his goal and my goal is that when a student that I have in my classroom is 40, they will...
Is what?
40, like 40 years old. Like once they leave me.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. I was like, wait a minute.
No. So like, say I teach them up to 5th grade. Once they leave me, and once they're 40, they will have the skills to like dance at a wedding, to clap to music, just to have like a
basic sense of rhythm.
Yeah. Well, it's being tuneful. So like being able to sing in tune, or at least like sing Happy Birthday in tune. Beatful. So being able to clap to music, move to music, dance to music, tuneful, beatful, and artful. Artful is kind of the more obscure one, but it's just like being able to appreciate music, being able to move to it, having a respect for music of other cultures, just like having an awareness of it. And it's so good for your brain. It's so good for your mind. Yeah. So that's my overall goal. Like, I know not every kid I teach is going to want to play an instrument or go to college for music.
That's totally fine.
So yeah, it's just, I think it's great for development and social emotional development.
And it teaches a lot of math.
Well, yeah. Well, see, I used to think that, but it hasn't been slapping me in the face as much as I thought it would. Like we talk about rhythms, and like we'll do like, I've just been doing 4/4 with most of my grades. 3rd grade gets to 6/8 a little bit, but like in 2nd grade, we're using 4/4. I'll be like, okay, there's 4 beats in a measure. So if we have a half note, okay, there's 2 beats taken up. So how many beats do we have left to fill? How could we fill it? So that is kind of it. But
well, I tell you, my 2s and 4s and 3s even, I'm really good at when it comes like multiplication and stuff, especially as a percussionist who had to read, like 39 measures of rests.
That's true.
That's like a million beats that have to count 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 3 3.
Yeah.
Repeat. But so that's really, so you like to nerd out. You told me that you like to nerd out about the developmental side.
Yes.
What is the key development that music has on children?
Oh man. The key development. I think it helps with like motor skills. Because they, like, for instance, I was for St. Patrick's Day, we did a rhythm stick routine to an Irish jig, and I was improvising it, but they were copying me, so I would like cross my hands and then tap above my head, tap the floor. So it's just getting them like moving, and then I do a lot of folk dances with my kids, so they're learning how to work with others. A big thing is like I will assign them partners, and they sometimes complain about the person I assign them to. So we'll have a conversation about, this is more social emotional development, but we'll have a conversation about respecting others and like how it's a privilege to get to dance with someone, and we should be supporting each other and loving each other, which kind of ties into our faith, but also I think it's something that every human should do. So, yeah, but as far as like the brain, like motor skills, listening skills, like being able to, my 1st graders know what audiation is, which I didn't learn until college, but they can tell you. I'm
still fuzzy on that.
They can tell you what audiation is.
That's hearing a pitch in your head before singing it, right? Yeah.
Yep. Or I even use it for thoughts. So I'm like, if you're hearing a thought, think it in your head. Like we audiate with music. Think your thought in your head, but don't say it out loud. I even have them like close their eyes and think their thought, and then they raise their hand. So it's like the process of self-control. And then with music, we hear it, think it, breathe, sing it.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Did you know that some people don't have an inner monologue?
Yes, I am flabbergasted. I have a good friend who doesn't have that, and I was just floored. Like, I'm always talking to myself in my
Right.
head.
For
Always.
those who don't know, an inner monologue is like if you didn't speak and you just thought to yourself what like if you could have a conversation with yourself in your own mind without ever speaking a word. It's what a lot of people do when they read. They'll read it to themselves in their inner monologue. It's hard to explain, but there are some people who just when they stop talking, that's it. There's nothing else going on in their mind. There's no words running through. There's no inner monologue, so to speak. There's maybe sometimes there's pictures. Yeah. I've heard people who think with pictures, and I'm like,
and some people. This is another thing that this friend does. If you were to say something like apple, can you see an apple in your head?
I can see an apple in my head.
Some people can't do that.
I know some people can't do it. Yeah.
Like what? Anyway.
It is. I often wonder how those people dream.
Yeah, I love dreams. It's like a little movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But so we were talking about self-control and the developmental side, especially with like your motor skills. That's teaching kids to use muscles they probably haven't ever used probably at this point.
Yeah, and it's fascinating to see. So like my K4 students, like I use bean bags for them, and we'll like hold a bean bag and tap the beat. And then like in first grade, they start using rhythm sticks. But it's so cool to see like the range of abilities in the classroom. And like I have a kindergartner who has some developmental delays. And when we're doing movement, I have to like just to keep him safe and other students safe, I'll like kind of move him away from the rest of them because he struggles. Like he doesn't have good balance, but he's improving, and I'll have the class do things, and I can see him like trying, and he's getting so much better now at like moving and balancing. So
you ever have them pat their heads around their stomachs?
No. No, we'll do like steady beat activities where we'll play a song and like we're tapping the steady beat, and we're doing it on different parts of our body, and sometimes we'll cross our arms or pat our knees, pat our feet. So it's so fun.
Nothing as complicated as conducting 4 in one hand and 3 in the other.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
I can still do that.
I don't think I could.
So one of the skills we had to do, or one of the challenges we had to do in conducting class was conduct 4 in one hand and 3 in the other. I had some skill doing this for my drum major academy camp, where they had us do that just for like, she's struggling over here to figure it out.
No, because it's like, yeah, it's a triangle in one hand and a square in the other.
And a square in the other hand, yeah. And
Okay,
those are some fine motor skills that now she's determined.
I'll try it later. Don't want to spend too much time.
But I find that those skills especially help me become more of a better drummer, because you're literally using every limb independently of each other. Especially as a pianist, you have to. She's still over here trying to figure it out. How hard is it to have your limbs become independent of each other?
Well,
because you're working with like both your hands and then the pedal with one foot. I don't know.
I feel like
you're an organist.
I was gonna say you should ask Dr. Seiboth on this, because I feel like an organist is more than a pianist. I mean, I feel like I didn't really struggle with it. I've been playing piano since I was 5, so it just kind of like happened. But when I was in college, I started doing, I won't remember the name now. Wow. You do scale. It's a technique, and you do scales, and you start going up the same way, and then your hands go different ways, and then they go opposite, and then they come back together. And I can't remember the name of those scales. It makes me feel rather silly. Anyway, but like that was hard because your hands are independent, and by that level, like you're going so fast, like you have to
really not think about it. Like, it just has to be done.
Yeah, like your fingers are moving so fast, and you have to have good technique. Your fingers have to be curved so they're not getting in the way of each other, and then your brain has to be thinking, okay, I'm going apart now, now together, now up, now down, now apart, now together, now down. So, yeah.
Well, so going into because now you also teach piano as well.
I do, yes.
Right. So what's it like to first off build a studio in a place where learning can happen, and then what is it like to, because every student's a different challenge.
Yeah.
What is it like to build them up from scratch in some cases, and what what advice would you give to those who want to start teaching lessons or teaching in general? That's a better question.
So just to give some context, I teach at school, after school. My school has a little practice.
Okay.
Yeah, they have like 3 practice rooms. So I just teach down there. After school, I do 30-minute lessons. And I would say this was actually my first time teaching piano lessons. I've never taught private lessons before, which is surprising to some people. But I had some parents reach out to me and I was like, extra money sounds great.
Extra sounds great.
I would say it's important to know what your rate is going to be. So I did some research. I'm in some music educator groups and I talked to some other people at the school. And so decide what your rate is, decide like it's kind of nitty gritty, but what curriculum are you going to use? I use Piano Adventures for my kids. But there's lots of different ones. Mention Music is a great place to go. Decide if you want them to bring their own notebook so you can take notes. Just like you have to lay out your expectations and be very clear with the parent and the student before you even start.
You really do have to think about these things because you're teaching somebody else.
Yeah.
And they're not going to know what they've probably never been taught before.
Yeah. So, so once you have those like fine details worked out, like the schedule and the logistics of everything, then I kind of just dove in. I wasn't sure. So I teach a set of twins. They're in 2nd grade. And then I have a 3rd grade student. And I wasn't sure where they'd be at. So I just started them from the beginning. My 3rd grader is already reading notation in 2 hands. And the twins, it's really funny. The girl is so musical. She has such a good steady beat. She already knows the notes so well. And the boy, oh my goodness, he is the sweetest thing. But he's definitely, he's just not picking it up quite as fast, which is totally normal.
A little imbalance there.
Yeah.
It's just got all the music stuff.
It's hilarious because they're literally twins. But I just dove in and I just take it week to week with them. It's pretty, like I'm not doing any recitals or anything, but I would say if you're planning to start your own studio, like decide if you're going to do performances, decide what the space is. Another thing is like payments. Like I just have my students pay me each week, but I would recommend maybe doing it monthly. I think it makes it more convenient for the parents because sometimes they forget and then they feel bad. And I don't care, but they're like, oh my goodness, Miss Ray, I forgot to pay you. I'm like, please don't worry about it. But just be professional. Make sure you know what you're doing so you're not coming across as, oh my goodness, what week is it? Did you pay me already?
Right. Make sure you have a schedule.
Yeah.
That is one thing I've learned running this podcast is you gotta have a schedule. You gotta stick to that schedule, and the rate thing is important because you have to stick with your rate.
Yeah.
Especially because if you start changing it willy nilly, people are gonna lose confidence in you.
Yeah.
And rate is such a nitpicky subject because if you go too high, no one's gonna buy. If you go too low, no one's gonna buy either because people are gonna be like, well, are they really experienced if I'm only paying, because cheap versus quality, it's that whole aspect.
Yeah, and I will say like I definitely I paid double what I'm charging when I was taking lessons through Mention Music. So it kind of just depends on the culture. Like I talked to the other teachers that teach at the school because I didn't want to be like over or under. So just do your research and talk to people, figure it out, and then stick to whatever you decide, stick to it. Like you said, don't be changing it every month.
Right.
That'd be crazy.
That would be a little much. So, you have been a pianist, but you also want to get into singing. How has it been to grow vocally over the past few years?
Oh man, yeah. So I started playing piano when I was 5. I didn't start really singing until about 7th grade. I took voice lessons, but not consistently. So I would take voice lessons in chunks of 3-month periods, over the summer. And my first voice lessons were actually with a worship leader at my church, and she was coaching me on worship style. And then in college, I was in chorale and women's chorus, and I never really had formal training in, more classical styles. It was always more pop styles. So but I think that helped me because that was what I wanted to teach was like choral music. So
Right.
the warm-ups that we would do and the ways that Dr. Bigley would teach us, those definitely helped me in my own setting me up for my own teaching. And I had to take a choral methods class, and we talked about breathing and how to teach that, because I feel like it's different when you're taking it in rather than when you are taking something in to then know how to teach it, if that makes sense.
Right. It's a different thing being taught it, but then being taught how to teach it.
Yes. The pedagogy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's completely different.
Yeah.
For sure, because somebody can say, all right, take a deep breath, back straight, shoulders square, but being taught how to consistently teach that, it's a completely different thing, because I tell you what, I know I was taught how to teach my swim lessons, but still, it's not in my brain all the time.
Yeah.
To immediately go to that and immediately point something out is, because I know how to do backstroke, doesn't mean I know how to teach backstroke.
Yeah. And I feel like that aspect of things has come up more in my private lessons, because I'm so used to playing piano. I'm like, all right, let's do a C major scale, and the kids are like, what is a scale? So I had to like back it up so much. Yeah. So I got through that. But anyway, one of the things I struggled with in this first year of teaching was definitely vocal health. So definitely know your technique. Use a microphone. I lost my voice.
Record yourself.
Yeah, I lost my voice by like November, and the teachers were really concerned about me. They're like, you should not have lost your voice by now. But it's just because I wasn't used to talking all day, singing loudly.
Talking loudly.
Drink lots of water, do vocal warm-ups before you start teaching, save your voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are all things I have to, especially because I teach in a chlorine-infested environment. I didn't know that, but chlorine really messes up your voice.
Oh. I don't know if I knew that either.
No, I just came into contact with Jeffrey Martin one day, and my voice was just trashed. If you've listened to previous episodes, you would know. And he was like, "What happened to your voice?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just lost it one day. I'm not sick or anything." And he was like, "Well, where do you work?" And I was like, "Oh, I teach kids how to swim." And he was like, "That was it. The chlorine messes up with your voice." And that was like for like 5 days. Like for like a solid week almost, that my voice was just trashed. And he was like, "Drink tea, you'll be fine." And I'm like, I don't like tea either. I don't like coffee. I don't like tea. I know. I'm such a basic person.
I mean,
when it comes to that.
Hot water. I like hot water with, actually, my friend Deborah Fawcett made this for me in college. Hot water with lemon and honey.
I feel like that would be good.
It's so
I would
good.
like that.
It's like hot lemonade.
Yeah, I do like lemonade. Lemonade's fine. Soda is also fine, but it's also bad for you.
Yeah.
So it's like just water, please. So talking about teaching students, what is it like to teach them like the more important things like posture is super important for a pianist.
Yeah. Yes, I'll just remind them to sit up straight. They tend to like slouch and they'll like put their hand up and they're like playing the right notes. I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, let's sit up, like have your hand curved, because if you learn it now when you're young, then it's going to carry over and it'll just become habit.
What are the dangers of doing it incorrectly?
Tension. You won't be able to play as fast when you get to more complicated pieces. Your fingers are going to fall over each other.
Even injuries, though. Because you can gain injuries from doing stuff incorrectly.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like for me, it's just tension. Like if I'm sitting incorrectly and playing and practicing, like my shoulders will be so sore afterwards. And like your wrists can get sore. There was something in high school. I was playing a really, really fast piece, and like my fingers were hurting after. My teacher was like I was like massaging my hand or something. He was like, "Does your hand hurt?" I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Well, let's fix your technique a little bit because that's going to help." And it turns out I can't remember what I was doing, but it was something with my hands. And when I fixed that, I was able to play much faster and without pain.
That's something I've been realizing as I've been playing piano, is that if I stretch my hand out to like play the big octave stuff, that's when my hand starts, or my wrist starts to feel it.
The tension is like, oh.
Is that incorrect to play like so stretched out, or is it just?
I mean, sometimes you have to. It depends on the music, but just like using your elbow weight to like lean in, especially if you're playing like really up high or down low, like using your whole body to help, I think will eliminate some of that hand tension.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, getting into not really out of the teacher world, but kind of related. How has your teaching skills impacted your your adult life?
Yeah.
And this is going to go into how you deal with children versus adults.
Yeah.
What teacherisms do you have? What, so, like how has learning how to teach helped you in other aspects of life? That's the first question I want to ask.
Yeah. How has teaching helped me in other aspects of my life? Communication. I think like you have to be a good communicator to teach, especially if you're a specials teacher, because you're teaching so many different classes. So communicating with the classroom teachers, with the principal, with the superintendent. Communication is a big one. And verbal communication too. Like I tend to talk really fast, but with the students, I have to make sure I'm very slow and clear so they can understand what I'm saying. So communication, organization, you just have to be organized. If you're not organized, you're going to drown in your papers and just in all the things that you have to keep track of. So I love my planner. I don't know how people live without planners, but I have my planner that I write everything down in.
I'm one of those people who don't live with the planner. I'm learning the flaws of my ways, but
yeah. So having a planner, organization, communication, professionalism.
Yeah. That is a key one, because a lot of I didn't learn how to be a professional until recently. Because I would always come in with like the silly shirts and then the gym shorts and whatever, and those are fine for like specific areas. But if you're trying, like for a college student, that's not necessarily the most professional thing you could wear. For going out to like an open mic or a concert, it's definitely not one of the most professional things you could wear, depending on your style.
Yeah.
Granted.
Yeah.
But learning how to wear just like a solid black tee, black jeans, wearing the appropriate things for the appropriate events.
That's key.
Is definitely key, because a teacher usually doesn't come in with like sweatshirt, sweatpants unless it's like PJ day.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm lucky. Like I love like dressing up, and like that's just my jam. I love shopping. I love like just like feeling put together. So that's been kind of easy for me. But even just like in my language, like being professional with my language and trying to cut out, I don't know, like the little colloquialisms that we have as
like little cliches.
Yeah, as 20-something-year-olds,
Yeet, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I've said zesty is usually what I say.
Really?
Zesty, yeah, and I've said it to my students. Like they'll tell me something, I'm like, oh, zesty.
I've never ever heard that one before.
It's just like, oh, cool. I don't know.
That's an interesting one. So what's one way that you have to differentiate between dealing with adults and then children?
Well,
because you can't go, hey guys, to a bunch of adults.
Right. Well, it's actually, hey friends, how are you today? Yeah, my voice is very different. I was in an interview, and the person interviewing me said, I'm going to cut to the chase. You seem like a very sweet, quiet person. How would you handle a rowdy group of K-5 students? I was like, I didn't say this, but in my head I was thinking, I really am a different person in front of my students. Like my voice changes, the way I address them. I have a lot of attention getters. So I generally try to talk very sweetly to them, but sometimes I'll like quote get after them and have to be a little more stern. Like I think I told a first grade class that was just not listening. I moved their emoji down and I was like, you guys need to cut it out. Like you're not behaving right now. And that worked. But with adults, I don't know. I feel like
you're not behaving right now. Fix it.
Yeah. I mean, with adults, like you just have real conversations with them. And I don't know. I think I try to just be genuine. Like I try to not have a teacher persona and then a normal persona.
I guess the question is, does your teacher persona ever come out towards adults?
Yes.
I guess that's more of the question.
Yes. Yeah. I will. I tried to think of an example and I couldn't, but there would be times when someone like at church or something is like, man, you are such a teacher. Just as something I'll say or something I'll do, they're like, yeah, you're definitely a teacher.
That makes sense. There's a lot of because you're right. The voice thing is the pitching.
Yeah.
Is definitely an issue, or not an issue, but it's definitely like a thing.
Yeah.
You'll talk to kids. All right, guys, come on in. You ready to come in?
Yep.
We're gonna put our head back and we're gonna reach out as far as we can. And then as soon as they do something, no, we're not doing that. You gotta put your head back. Mm-hmm. All right. And it's the playful to stern ratio. And then with adults, I feel like it's really hard because sometimes I kind of want to be stern with them, but you can't. You gotta have to be.
Yeah.
You want to pull out your stern voice or your instructional voice, but it's not a thing that you can do because they're adults, and they're like, why are you talking to me like I'm a kid, man?
Yeah. I don't think that's like I'll do you want to hear my voice? Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine I'm standing at my door and the kindergartners are coming in. This is what I would say. All right, guys, come on in. Find your seat. Oh, I love how James came in quietly and found his seat. Oh, please, crisscross applesauce. All right, get your hands ready to do some motions. Eyes ready to watch me. Ears are ready to listen. Oh, good job. Here we go.
Oh. Just higher and higher and higher.
And then we sing our welcome song. And then if, like I was teaching, James, you need to sit quietly. Thank you. Oh, I love how she's sitting so quietly. Like, just it's the different pitches, like you said. It's magic.
Yeah, there's something with kids that once your tone changes, their whole demeanor changes. That's something I've really realized because I like to be playful and fun. But as soon as my pitch comes down and I'm on their level and I'm like, you need to start paying attention. Their smile goes away. It's not a frown, but it's their focused face that they get like, okay. I got it.
Oh, Miss Ray's mad. I'm not mad. I've never gotten mad at students, but
it's more of like okay, it's time to listen now. I understand.
It's funny.
it is. Sometimes it is very funny. So we talked about teacherisms. What is it like to? Oh, you're a diabetic.
Yes. Yeah.
What is
correct?
Yes, true. That is right. So what is it like to deal with diabetes and because it's a hard thing to deal with?
Yeah.
What type are you?
1.
So you were born with it?
Well, I wasn't born with it, but it's genetic.
Oh, it's genetic.
Yeah.
That's right.
I didn't there was nothing I could have done to stop it, and there's nothing that I specifically did. I was diagnosed when I was 3. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'm 24 now, so I've had it for a long time. Yeah. There's a lot I could say on this. I would just say I'm very blessed because I have an insulin pump and a continuous glucose monitor. And I actually can get my blood sugar on my watch. So right now I'm 174 trending down because I had this very sugary coffee. So at school, it's nice because I can just look at my watch and I just have juice boxes on hand. The only time it's ever been annoying was when I was doing my second Christmas program and I had dinner, done all the things that I knew to do to avoid getting a low blood sugar because stress can make me get low, have low blood sugar. Low blood sugar means I need sugar. High blood sugar means I need insulin. So, yeah. So when I eat, my blood sugar goes up because my body can't convert what I eat, the carbohydrates, it cannot convert into energy. So it'll just sit kind of in my blood.
That's what it needs insulin for.
And that's what I need insulin for, to convert it into energy. So when I get high, I have to take insulin otherwise I feel really tired and because my body is just what am I supposed to do with this?
Low battery, effectively.
If I get low blood sugar, I've had too much insulin or I'm stressed or did exercise and there's just...
So is that all regulated with that patch?
With the pump.
With the pump.
Yep, the pump has a little tube, catheter, goes in. I change it every 3 days. But anyway, at Christmas, my blood sugar got low right before the concert and I had to kind of just sit, and have regular soda and sugar. And administration was very concerned about me and everything was fine. God really was there for me and I was fine by the time the show started, conducted my kids and I was fine. But that was a little bit scary because if I had like passed out, there was no one else to do my job. Right. So
has that ever gotten to that point where you've?
I have not. I think I passed out when I was little once, but no, like I said, with this system, like, it's very difficult to get to that point because it alerts you like way before.
You probably have to be really not squeamish with like needles and all that jazz.
Yeah.
I tell you, I couldn't even watch my grandmother give herself insulin.
Yeah. It's just kind of part of life. And like the systems that they have, like I'm never like, it's like kind of automatic. So I'll just like when I put my sights in, like I just put it on my skin, hit a button and it goes in automatically. Not to like make you squeamish right now, but no, it's very,
I'm feeling it.
It's very simple. And I just like my students, most of them know, I don't like make a big deal out of it, but I told them at the beginning of the year, like, hey, like, you know, we go over procedures and like if Miss Ray ever seems different, just go grab Mrs. So-and-so and.
Oh really? So there's like that kind of
yeah, because I don't want
to freak out.
Yeah, I don't want something to happen and then them like be totally scared. But I have to be careful because there's some that are like really anxious, so I don't want to make such a big deal out of it that they are scared for no reason, but just being aware. So yeah,
you probably have to have the conversation. If you ever see Miss Ray with a snack, no, you can't have them.
Yeah. There was one day I had gummy bears at dismissal, and they were like, Miss Ray, why do you have gummy bears? I'm like, just because.
Just because. Well, why don't I have gummy bears?
Yeah.
Why aren't you giving them to me?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. So, going back to the teaching thing, I feel like this whole episode is about you and teaching.
I mean, I'm a teacher.
That is the case. Yes. You are moving into a public space, right?
Hopefully. Yeah, we'll see. That's what the goal is.
What differences do you have to have, or what differences are there? Granted, number one probably being you can't openly be as Christ-like to the kids, and the fact that you can't like discuss Christ.
Yes. Yeah. So, like little differences. Like I've prayed with my classes at where I'm at now, in a public school.
Definitely couldn't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. But I think it's unique because I would hope, and my goal is that just the way I'm living my life will be maybe a little different than a non-Christian. So maybe like even if I never get the opportunity to tell them like, hey, I love Jesus, they'll notice that they are loved by me, and they'll my biggest like goal is that like just people will see Christ through me. So that's it. Just you kind of have to not talk about it. So
do you like talking about your faith?
Yes, I do. Something I've like on a personal note, like something I've been thinking about recently is I've always been in friend groups, situations, settings. That's the word. I've always been in settings where I've just been around Christians. I've always worked with, or I've always gone to like Christian schools. I went to LBC. All my friends are Christian. And now that I'm like graduated college, I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm just so used to that I've never like had the opportunity to. Well, I worked at Staples, and they did know I was a Christian there. Like we had conversations there, but I don't know. I look forward to being in a public setting where I can kind of challenge myself to live in such a way that my faith is evident, even if I don't say anything.
That's something I've had to deal with being a gig musician, like going out to different bars, and the music industry is chock full of drugs. It's been a journey and a half because it's hard. They're so communal about it with it too. They'll always offer you a cigarette or other things, and or like a drink, even that. I don't like alcohol. I can't drink alcohol. It's gross, and I just don't like it. But it's definitely challenging sometimes because sometimes you're at that, Christians get sad too. Everyone gets sad, and you're just like, oh, yeah, drink sounds really nice right now, or that would definitely take the edge off. But it's just being, and then also dealing with like, Fun fact, a lot of the gig musicians are very spiritual.
Oh.
very, very spiritual. Not
Interesting.
necessarily Christian,
Yeah.
but super, super spiritual. And that's something that I've always kind of found weird, almost, because you wouldn't have thought of that. The way society portrays them, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just a thing here, but I know for a fact that for the most part, there is this gigantic spiritual aspect here. There are some definite atheists that don't think about it at all, but some of the guests I'm having up for sure. And granted, this is Lancaster, where every theater is owned by a Christian, almost.
Honestly.
But they're very spiritual. They believe in the forces of they believe in the demons. They believe in the ghosts. They believe in the spiritual powers. There's a lot of what are they called? Like the Aquarius, the Libra, the
horoscopes.
Horoscopes. Those kind of things. Zodiac signs, like
right.
the whole astrological signs, and for example, they're like, oh, it's gonna be a solar eclipse and Mercury retrograde. That's like a thing that's happening now, apparently.
Great.
And that's gonna cause like chaos or something.
Oh.
Yeah, great, wonderful. And it's Friday the 13th, so it's like, oh,
yeah.
Right. So it's like it's definitely been challenging to like go to those areas. And they all know I'm Christian, and some of them will challenge me on it. And it's nice to be challenged in some aspects, and it makes me realize how much I need to take out the apologetics class.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff that people need to hear, but people just don't want to hear it in the Christian way.
Yeah.
So what is one thing? I guess you haven't really had this experience yet, but what is one way that your faith has been challenged?
Oh, so it has been.
I'm sure.
There's one situation in my life where this person I know, I presented the gospel, explained why I trust in God, explained, how I've been changed by Jesus, which that was another thing. So I grew up in church, so I never had that I was
this is my faith.
Living on,
almost.
I just never had a huge conversion. There was really no clear defining difference. So it's hard for me to relate to people who didn't grow up in church, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so this person was I've shared everything with him, and I feel like I've told every right thing, and just didn't click. So then that comes into the whole, this is too much to get into, but then it gets into okay, is this not God's will? Is this person never going to, just that whole side of things, free will versus
determinism.
Yeah. So I've just been wrestling through that a lot. So it's been really good. I've had to think about things. I've had great conversations, but yeah, that'll be hard if I get into a public school, maybe even with coworkers, if I'm sharing
coworkers.
If I'm living out my faith and they're asking questions and I'm sharing the gospel, and then they don't,
especially in the political climate that we're in.
Oh yeah, that's a whole
other thing.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you the best of luck at that.
Thank you.
We can talk about that at a future episode.
Yeah,
if you're willing.
We'll have a follow-up.
Right. So moving on past school, something that we kind of had fun reminiscing about was a time where I wanted to write a symphony, and I wanted to collaborate with somebody, and I chose you, Miss Kate Ray, to be my collaborator. And what was it like to collaborate on such a giant piece of music?
It was a lot. I remember. I honestly, I feel he says that we collaborated on it. I feel like I wrote maybe 3 melody lines, and he produced this, what is it, 10-minute, 5-minute?
Minutes.
Yeah, 15-minute piece. I'm whoa. So just to be clear, Corey did a lot of the work on that. But it was fun. I feel I learned about voicing. I would just sit down and you would have an idea, okay, this part, did we say what it is? It's an ocean.
Oh, so yeah, so it's called an oceanic storm, and it's more of a programmatic piece that it details a day in the life of the ocean. So it wakes up. There's animals. It's bouncy at some parts. There's a whale, and it's very wonderful. And then there's like pirates and everything, and like ships and everything. And then there's a storm that comes in, and then it gets all scary because if you've never been in the ocean during a storm, it is very scary. I have firsthand experience of that. And then it just kind of calms out. It chills out at the end. It's a nice little almost 2-part symphony, I would say. There's like the morning part and then like the storm part. But it's a decent amount of work. It's one of my biggest works I've ever worked on besides my musical. And yeah, Kate did supply a lot of the melodies for it. And that's kind of what I expected going into it. I didn't really expect you to do all the orchestration per se.
That's good.
But I was willing to let you try.
Yeah. Keyword try.
Yeah. But granted, you have to have a melody if you want to orchestrate anything.
Yeah.
And you were good at making melodies. I'm decent at making melodies as well.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's such a scumbag thing to say.
No, yeah. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. So I would just like sit down and Corey would be like, okay, like in this part of the piece, I think didn't I write a line for like the lower strings? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and was that like the pirate?
You definitely came up with the pirate one, which was insanely good.
It was like a sea shanty. It was a theme,
yes, yep.
Like a theme. So I came up with the theme for that, sent it to him. I literally I think I just was plunking out notes for the melody line, would send it to him and he would plug it in and fill it out with all the parts, and it sounds really cool.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to pull up future, because we did it on MuseScore, and the samples from MuseScore are kind of not good.
Yeah.
And it would not be fun to listen on to the radio.
No.
or anything. So I'll definitely have to update that and share that with you guys. But yeah, I thought it was very enlightening to me to work with somebody, and it's something I want to do so much more often, especially nowadays, because I'm not a very good singer. I've known that about myself, but I've been writing all these songs, and they need somebody to sing. I wrote a country song that I'm really, really proud of.
Nice.
And it's been stuck in my roommate's head and you know Hunter Wood, right?
Yeah.
It's been stuck in
his. He just graduated. Yay.
Yeah, he did just graduate. And he's the director of Victory Church.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been hearing a bunch of worship songs, and he happens to get my song stuck in his head.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's always funny how that works out. Dr. Gerlach was always like, I always have your song stuck in always, and it's just like, oh, that's cool, right? Haha, but also, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it means they have. I feel like good melodies are singable, and I think that's what Dr. Gerlach would say. Like, you should always be able to sing your melodies.
Always be able to sing a melody.
Mm-hmm.
It should be natural to sing.
Yes.
Unless you're in jazz, and then that's a whole different other thing. But for pop singing, at least, simple singing, like, think about all the children's songs. Like, it's literally like going back to teaching. That's literally all you have to do to think about a melody. Like, those are great melodies, and you know why they're great? It's because you can sing them. They're super simple. It's so simple that children literally can learn within minutes. So it really goes back to, like, if you could send somebody a melody and they could sing it within like 2 or 3 tries, that's a good melody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you definitely had a knack for creating good melody, and you also had because you did the timpani part as well. The bum 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 bum.
Oh yeah, that was more rhythmic.
Yeah, more of like a rhythmic melody motif.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that, because when I came to that part, I was like, I've got no idea what I want to do.
That was oh man, I need to listen to this again. I put it on my portfolio, my professional portfolio.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I need to pull that up and listen to it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm in the process of making like a Logic file of it, so that way it sounds much better. So I'll definitely have to get that to you and post it. Well, I have I've got my own page on Facebook, Corey Rosen, CORYROSEN. Where can they find you?
Well, I don't actually, my portfolio is private because I have some like videos from performances that I've produced. So I can't share that with just anyone.
With like kids and all that jazz.
Yeah, because privacy.
Right.
But I can share it with employers. But I mean, I'm on Instagram, Catherine97, and Facebook.
Do you have a website at all?
I don't.
You never got into that?
No.
It's one thing that they kind of always push on us, but never really elaborate on, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, my portfolio is a website.
Right.
But like I said, I can't
really share it.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, I haven't really needed one.
That's fair. You're also a teacher. That's kind of fair.
My self-advertisement is more like my resume and my paeducator.net account, which is, it's really neat. If you're a teacher, you should be on it. If you're looking for a job, I think you have to if you're an LBC student. But it's kind of like Indeed for teachers. You put in all your information, like literally everything, essay, resume, references, and then you can search for jobs. And with one click, you can apply to a job. It's very nice.
Here's one question. So we're kind of wrapping up almost. So there's a few questions that I really, really want to ask.
Yeah.
We had talked about worship a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you define as worship?
Worship.
Such a big term.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to note or mention that I don't think worship is just music.
Oh, no.
But if we're talking about worship music.
I just say as a blanket term, what is worship?
I think worship is anything we do with purpose to glorify God. So whether that's taking a walk and talking to him or talking
viewing
to
his
someone
creation
else.
even.
Yeah, reading scripture, talking to someone else about him, worshiping him with music, singing to him, writing music for him.
Using your gifts to glorify him.
Exactly.
Or even just using your gifts that he gave you as well is also glorifying him in of itself.
And giving credit to him. Like I try to, like, people come up to me at church a lot and they'll be like, "You have such a beautiful voice, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, "Thank you." I still sometimes stammer when I'm trying to respond to them, but I'll try to say something like, all glory to God. Like, he gave me these gifts and I'm happy to use them to glorify him.
So what is one thing that you know now that you had wished you had known when you had first started? And that can be piano, that can be teaching. Let's do teaching.
Okay, yeah. I think, man, there's so many, because there's things specifically about the job I'm at now, and then there's things just in general. I'll try to do a general one. I think, I knew this when I graduated, but just the importance of organization, and even something as simple as buy the file cabinet so you can keep yourself organized. Like, do what you need to do to stay organized. But also, like, they tell us this in school, but I didn't listen. Don't spend your own money on stuff. Like, find out what your budget is. Be firm about asking about your budget and just stick to that. Because I spent...
In regards to teaching?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I spent probably too much money on my classroom that now I won't even be in next year, hopefully. So, but it's all good. Most of the stuff that I bought, like, I'll be taking with me. So.
Okay, at least that's good.
Yeah, kind of a immature thing, but.
In regards to faith, what is something you wish you could tell your past self?
Oh man, I would say wait on the Lord a little more. Don't just jump into things. I feel like I still do a bad job of just like waiting and trusting. It's a fine balance between waiting and then just like acting, because we're not called to just sit around and wait, but finding that balance of like weighing what you're trying to decide against his word and other people that you trust to really figure out, okay, is this God's will or is this just something that's convenient?
Well, with that said, I think we're going to wrap it up. They can find you at Catherine.
Yeah, it's Catherray, so Katheray 97 on Instagram, and my Facebook is Catherine Ann.
Are you open to like gigs, like doing worship or piano or? Yeah,
worship jams are my favorite thing. So I play at church a lot, and we do like worship nights. I'm a youth leader. I lead worship at our youth group. But yeah, I love collaborative music making. So if anyone ever needs a pianist, hit me up.
All right. Well, with that said, this has been Kate Ray and Corey Rosen on the Story Podcast. And with that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Bye.